And welcome back to another episode of Fan Interference. Thank you. Here with Steve, Tim, Beeman, Everett Hutto, and of course me, Ty Collins, here in the beautiful downtown Winston-Salem, where it just will not stop being cloudy or rainy, just not summer. Anyway, we're ready to go. We've got lots to talk about. Some NFL news, the same Aaron Rodgers BS we keep having to deal with, which I wish would just go away.
Well, apparently he's gone away.
Yeah.
Like, he's in his, like, dark room, right? He's on retreat or something. Because I haven't heard actually from him in a while.
Yeah. But I think that the Steelers should just sign Kirk Cousins and just say, look, he's going to be coachable. He's not going to bring attention to you. You might as well just roll the dice. I mean, it's just, I've never seen a player that just
so in love with himself.
Rapidly just decline to become this just complete, arrogant, out of touch individual. So yeah. When I used to admire him, and I used to think he was so good, and I mean, he was a good quarterback, but like, I really liked him. I enjoyed watching the Packers, and then now I'm just like, ugh, you know.
Well, and the thing about him is, I'm not even sure he's good anymore.
Nope.
Like, there's some debate on whether he's actually a good quarterback now, but you throw in all the other stuff, and what I keep hearing, and like I said, Tim's going to be able to speak much more to this than me, is the Steelers are doing the most non-Steelers thing ever. Mm-hmm. Like, Cam Hayward actually came out and said, here's the recruiting pitch. Pittsburgh Steelers. You either want to be or you don't.
Yeah.
And that, it's like, they're not doing that right now.
Tell me, I don't think that this would happen in the old regime and GM. Like, I think that this, with your new GM.
With Omar.
Yeah, I just think there's a lot, like, I don't know. It's just, it doesn't feel Steeler-esque.
Nothing about any of this feels Steeler-esque. Uncertainty is not Steeler-esque.
No, it's usually you know what you're going to have.
Yeah. It's not even Tomlin-esque. That's what's getting me. Is nothing is happening the way it is normally happening.
Well, and I don't think Tomlin has any say on it. I mean, he may have some, but
I mean, I'm hearing some reports that it is Tomlin that really wants Rodgers. Then I'm hearing that he doesn't, and then I'm hearing. So it's like just drama that you don't want to. That usually, and like you said, Tim, this is something that this doesn't happen in Steeler country. You don't have the drama. You don't have the quarterback drama controversy. It's just it baffles me. It's why would you want that cancer in the conversation?
Well, I don't. But if we're going to, just do it already. Just either do it or move the.
Yeah, I mean, like, this has gotten to the point where it's like, now I'm like, all right, man, I'm done. Like, I'd much rather have, I'll even use your little clown, the fourth stringer that you have as
Rudolph.
Yeah, Mason Rudolph.
Makeshift Rudolph?
Yeah, Makeshift Rudolph. I'll use him. I mean, at least, like, it'll be a calm locker room, and you don't bring this guy in with conspiracy theories and running his damn mouth all the time. I mean, like, and then he feels that he is way above, beyond anybody. And even, here's the thing too, he's above coaching staff. He's above, all right, I hate to do this, but this is an interesting conversation. What if Aaron Rodgers was African-American? He would get blasted because he'd be like, oh, you think you're just better than everybody.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers gets a little bit of a pass. Finally, I just wish that they would call more out on him. Like, it's just like, dude, you love the attention.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Only thing he's doing is holding the team hostage.
He got his due. How many coaches had he to get fired?
I don't even think he's not being blamed. I think there's plenty of people calling him out. Like, everybody I listen to is like, he's a jerk. And not even being a jerk. Like we said before, being a jerk's not really a problem. It's just that
he's asshole.
Doing his own thing that is completely contradictory to what the team needs. Mm-hmm. The team, they're starting OTAs, right? Yeah. They need somebody to go through OTAs as the quarterback, both first and second string.
What a terrible role model, too.
Well, he's awful. Like, there's no getting around it. But he's, I guess some people say, oh, but he's his own person. But he just, A, I don't think he's good.
Not anymore.
B, I
no.
don't think he's worth the effort.
Nope.
And C, I don't know why the Steelers just don't do something else.
Yeah.
Like, it really does
Well,
baffle me that they just won't. Like you said, they could get Cousins. They could get Cousins for,
Cheap.
I don't know, a 3rd round draft pick. I mean, I don't know what Atlanta would give him, would demand for him or ask for him, but it just seems like they could get him if they wanted him. And I think he's better than Rodgers right now.
Yeah, I'd take him. Yeah, you wouldn't even need to ask me a question and say, all right, say, here you go. You got Cousins and Rodgers. Who you want? The Cousins before you even finish the sentence.
Well, we've already given away next year's 3rd round.
Okay, well, maybe that's
Yeah,
the problem.
so,
Maybe it's
yeah,
got to be a
maybe.
2nd now.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what Atlanta's going to ask for him, but
Maybe a 4th round plus makeshift Rudolph.
they don't need a quarterback.
I mean,
Got a quarterback.
you could actually
And the Steelers actually need makeshift as a backup.
maybe even talk to the Titans about Levis. He'd be worth even a try.
Maybe.
He's young. I mean, I wasn't one that was like, oh, you know, I give him some time. I mean, I don't know, but like, I think a different address. Who knows what you could happen? I mean, what could happen?
Yeah. Anything could happen. Even if it's him, just fucking do it.
Yeah.
And stop holding everything up because your ego is getting stroked and your importance level is in your head anyway gotten bigger. It's just
Now, do you think that something's already sort of done? Like, do you think they're really waiting, or are they just waiting for him to come off this retreat? And he's like, "Oh yeah, I'll go."
so. But
the same
why?
stuff he
But
did with
why
New York,
wait?
so-
Why give him that?
Yeah.
It's just not.
No,
Verbo has over.
really?
Yeah, it's just.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's just
AI.
not. I don't get it.
Yeah, it's just a weird situation, and I just no one else is talking about him. Like, he's not connected with any other team, which kind of makes me think that his agent and Steelers have something in the works or have something in mind that's going to get accepted because there's just no other option. Like, his other option is not play,
Yeah.
and I don't know that he's in for that.
So he would rather just have this drama and string along the Steelers with him.
Yeah. Well, that's his thing. Yeah, he likes drama. That's what he wants, and so he thinks he's being, I don't know, cool or obtuse or whatever it is, and that's what he wants. But I'm so surprised the Steelers of all teams. I'm surprised the Steelers are allowing it to happen.
Yeah.
Because I think of Pittsburgh as being, either pick up the shovel and work
Yeah.
or get out of the way.
The name
And-
sells itself.
And that's what we're used to.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't get it.
Yeah, I'd much rather do an experiment with somebody else with a try to do with the Cousins or work out something with another quarterback. Hey, you thinking about maybe coming out of retirement? I don't know, but
Yeah.
I mean, I think Bradshaw thinks he could still throw for 300
Probably could.
yards.
I would love to see that happen.
Well, Bradshaw apparently hates Rodgers to begin with. He might dislike him as much as you do.
Yeah.
But his quote about going to California and chew on bark.
yeah.
Just,
I mean, he's right. Like it's just, I think same kind of how he evolved with liking the way that he plays quarterback and then just getting a sour taste with how he is. And then it's just hit that fever pitch now where it's just like, ugh, man. And when Terry says it, he's stepping up to the microphone as a voice of the Steelers nation to, kind of pound the table a little bit, which is good. And he's right. So everything
I think
about
he speaks for most Steeler fans.
yeah.
Like, again,
But he's he's like the spokesperson, one of the spokespeople that, what did Terry say?
Terry Bradshaw's never stepped down from a microphone either.
No.
So, I mean, it's not like he doesn't enjoy some attention himself.
Exactly.
But your point is taken that Terry Bradshaw has 4 Super Bowls, played in Pittsburgh for 15 years. I don't know how long he was there. It was all the 70s and about half of the 80s.
13, 14. Yeah,
yeah,
I
long
saw
time.
him in 83.
And he, like I said, is kind of one of the people you think of when you think about the great Steelers. You tend to go, Lynn Swann, Franco Harris.
And there's never anything that came out about his teammates didn't think that he was a good teammate at all.
No.
And even through years and years where you think maybe there's someone that was jaded that would have come out and said, "Look, Terry Bradshaw, blah, blah." This never happened. He's got pretty much a sparkling reputation. And I mean, I know he loves the attention.
He's got a reputation being a goofball, but
But he came
to work.
He owns it.
He came to work and he played every game.
Yeah.
And you never doubted that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, yeah, if he's doing it, if he's saying it, and this is just I mean, I feel if I was a Steeler fan and having to go through this, it would drive me nuts. So, and it's driving me nuts not a Steeler fan.
Yeah.
Because it's the same story. It's the same movie we did with New York.
Yep. And it's pretty reasonable that it'll happen next year too.
Yeah.
Let's stay in the division and actually move not very far down the road from Pittsburgh, just across the river to Cleveland. Joe Flacco had an interesting quote. Did you see this quote yesterday?
Yeah, I want you to tell me this.
He basically said, so he knew this question was coming, and because it always comes. You're the older guy in the room, and you've got 3 or 4 young quarterbacks, and someone's always going to say, "What do you think about mentoring the young guys?" And Flacco's like, "It's a terrible question. Like it's a no-win answer." Because if I say no, I don't want to mentor him, then I'm a jerk.
But that's how he.
He said it's a no-win answer. He said I can't give you a good answer, because if I say no, I want to be competitive and I don't want to mentor him, then I sound like a jerk. And if I say yes, I want to mentor him, then it sounds like I don't think I can compete for the job, and I sound like an idiot.
No, you could.
And he's like,
phrase it differently.
So he's like, if they ask me a question, I'll answer it. But I'm trying to win a job.
What if you replied saying, I work for the Browns. I want to be QB1. But if I need to be a good teammate, part of that is to mentor young quarterbacks, then I will do it.
It sounds like you're not serious about being competitive and wanting the job.
I just said.
That's what you said, but it doesn't sound like you think you're going to get the job. How's that sound?
I just said I'm QB1.
No, you just said I want to be QB1.
No, okay, fine. I'm QB1. I'm QB1. I am an employee for the Cleveland Browns, and with my very valuable experience, I will be glad.
He has won a Super Bowl.
Yes, I will be glad to give my advice to the young quarterbacks if they need it.
And he got around to that.
Yeah. Okay.
He basically said there's stuff that gets asked in the room. When we're watching film, questions get asked, and he said, "I'll answer questions." He said, I'm not going to check on them and make sure they listen to me. Yeah. But I'll tell them, give them my thoughts.
That's all you need.
But I just thought the quote was interesting. He's like, if I say no, I'm a jerk. If I say yes, I'm an idiot. So
he has a point, but I mean, like, I think if you looked at it.
But I think he got to the point. I think he got around to, yes, I'm competing for the job. I'm trying to be the starter. And I'm certainly not going to let these kids, just have it. Yeah. But if they need help, I will help them.
Flacco, have you heard from the Pittsburgh Steelers? They have an issue with the quarterback position. Cleveland has 7 quarterbacks.
I think they only have 5, but still, they have plenty. Flacco wouldn't be a terrible spot for the Steelers.
No, he wouldn't.
I mean, other than he was a Raven and everybody in Pittsburgh hates him.
And a Brown.
So everyone in Pittsburgh
he's doing the tour.
But
bring him. I'd take him.
Yep.
I mean, it's a better option than Rodgers.
Heard RG3's trying to come out of retirement. He's working on his footwork.
Right.
Yep.
Bring him. I don't care.
I don't know if he's had any more ligaments in his knees, but all right.
You can take ligaments from other places.
Can I borrow that? Thank you.
What else we got?
That's it. That's all we have.
All right. Good
We're
night.
done.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Try the fish.
Hey, you like Arliss? Hey, you like Arliss?
Well, I mean, we can always jump in. NBA, NHL, 2 series. We're
Thunder.
halfway to the finals. The Thunder polished off the Wolves by 30. I'm just amazed that an NBA Eastern Conference or Western Conference final, doesn't matter which side it is, would have a 30-point game. Like one team is 30 points better than the next best team in your conference. That seems weird.
I'm telling you, this is a great story about the Thunder, man. That's a really good story about just how that team was developed, and they have been pretty much consistent all year. And I mean, they're probably going to win the title.
Well, they're going to be the favorite. They're the only number 1 seed left.
I don't see them
They had the
losing.
best record in the NBA, so yeah, they're going to be the favorite. There's no
They
question.
play great brand of basketball, and it's and
play defense.
Yeah,
Imagine
imagine that. I think also with the old pile on, method is now pushed away, and it's how the Thunder has worked their magic to create this team. And I think now more teams are going to try to copycat them. So,
Well, I mean, I don't know what the copycat is. Like, I mean, playing defense.
well, it's that, but it's also acquiring a bunch of draft picks. Okay, from the Paul George draft, the trade. At some points, we're like, oh, well, the vultures are just hovering around Oklahoma City and just picking them dry. And they were like, what are they doing? Well, there was a plan. They got all these picks. Then they were able. They whoever's their talent scout or whatever saw, SGA, got him, turned him into an MVP, and
Well, I don't know. They turned him into. I think he was going to become that.
I mean, he was a good player, but you let him out of his cage to be
see,
free
it's not-
and play well. And I don't know what the atmosphere was, but it worked.
Yeah, and look, you can say we want to copy this or we want to copy that, but you still have to get the right people. And you look at the Sixers. The Sixers have had a process for 27 years now. What is it? They stockpiled draft picks too.
But then they switched and started
They
doing
just
the pile
picked the
on.
wrong ones. Well, the guys they picked, like they had 2 guys they picked number 1 who I don't think have played 20 minutes.
Fultz, who's not any longer on the team.
Fultz is gone, and the other kid did play, but not very much. I can't remember his name. But they just had 2 really terrible picks that I think were both number 1s.
Yeah. I
And
mean, that's
so-
all that goes to who
so,
you
yeah,
have
that's
hired
scouting.
as your scouting. Yeah. And they're going to look more into the whole process.
But
for
you
the
can
Thunder,
do
but-
that, but you still got to get the right guy.
Oh, I
you
know,
gotta,
I
you
know.
got to draft. Like Chet Holmgren, there were a lot of people that didn't like him.
I know.
Didn't think he'd be any good. He was too
Too
tall,
scrawny.
too scrawny, would get beat up, couldn't do all the things, and he seems to be fine. I mean, but that's the point, and that's kind of the thing. You can stockpile all the draft picks you want, but if you don't draft well, then you're still going to be 15th.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a story that it's not sexy enough. So,
Well, it's
of
Oklahoma
course, the
City.
sexy enough was, I know, sexy enough for like New York or whatever, and say, still, the talk of like the NBA be like, well, what is wrong with the Lakers? How can they get back to where they used to be?
Right.
And just like, dude, you're seeing a team, how it was built, and like you said, playing defense, playing both sides of the court. I mean,
Right.
I think they're fun to watch.
They are. But the media, to your point,
What do you think
doesn't
the Lakers
care.
are going to do about
Right.
that?
Right, because LA gets
More
people
clicks.
listening. Exactly. And that's all it is. It's ratings. LA and Boston and New York have bigger ratings than Oklahoma City. So nobody wants to talk about Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
And that's why the finals, the NBA is just praying that the Knicks come back.
Do you think the NBA could do something about that to try to help out these smaller teams that aren't as sexy? Like, I mean, whether
what, help them win?
No, not help them win, but I mean, like promote
gonna
them
be-
a little bit. Like, I mean, do something where they can.
matter.
I mean, it's just like it's a losing game here, where it doesn't matter how good you can be if you're not a New York, Boston, L.A.,
Right.
or Miami,
Chicago.
every now and then, Chicago, then no one really wants to give a rip.
Right. But that's the media's been like that for 100 years.
I know,
but new.
I know it's like because there's always the
ratings.
the ratings. Yes, but
go where people live.
But I mean, even just good basketball analysis and that people that love the game of basketball want to hear. I mean, I think you can
those
get
people love the Thunder and the Pacers. Those people that you're talking about that really love basketball are going to watch this and think it's the best final, in 10 years. And it might be. But the fact still remains the national media is not going to pay attention to it.
No.
And you can do all you want. You can promo all you want. The people who live in Boston, New York, LA, and Chicago, Miami, and Atlanta don't care about Indianapolis.
I remember with Jokic, right? Where he was MVP, and then Denver kind of was, they won the NBA title,
right. And Denver was actually a decent sized city,
right. And I don't know. Like, I feel like maybe if it was Doncic, it would be more of a wow, but Jokic is not as like as appealing. I don't know. It's not as fun, entertaining. But SGA, you have this good ball player, and he's MVP. It's hard to see to get face recognition. You would think more of commercials where he'd be in.
Put him in commercials, but again, you're not going to get the national media to care about Oklahoma City. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line. But, I mean, I think if the NBA would behoove them, they would have their whole product that is gleaming as opposed to just the top and the...
Well, I mean, they can try. I just don't know what you think they can do about it.
Do you think that the NBA doesn't want all the teams to be good? Otherwise, why have any other teams beside...
Well, that's true. But, I mean, you can't tell me that Adam Silver's not like, man, okay, I really would like for my pockets that New York
comes back and wins.
New York comes back and wins, and somehow maybe Minnesota or they're both disqualified and LA comes in.
No, he would love for New York to win or just to win their side. They don't have to win the championship. Oklahoma City can still win the championship.
Yeah.
He just wants all the people in New York to see it. That's what he wants. He wants people in New York to see to see the Thunder win. He's afraid that if it's Indiana and Oklahoma City, that no one's going to see the games.
What do you think Indiana, their game plan against New York have worked? What do you think their main objective?
I think their main objective is to take away one player and see if the rest of the team can win.
Brunson?
Yeah. Their whole defense is double team Brunson every chance you get.
And Halliburton said that how overrated he is, right?
Exactly. And see if anybody else can beat him.
Yeah.
And so far they haven't been able to.
Yeah, I that's crazy to me because with my Celtics and I have the best shutdown guard, Holiday, you would think would able to lock down Brunson and couldn't. Maybe I would say again, this is where we go into the coaching. Hey, why don't you double team the guy that's causing everything to go crazy? But as soon as Tatum was down, it was the wind was out of the sail and it's over. It's fine. It's good though that there's not repeating champions. It does kind of let the parity in the NBA somewhat look appealing, even though it's not sexy. That guess who's going to win? The Oklahoma City Thunder.
Well, Boston's problem, I don't think was defense as much because I don't think the games were overly high scoring as I remember them, but they just shot too many threes and missed. Like they just didn't make shots.
Yeah, because a
couple of those games, New York came back from 20 points down
because it was one and done, and it was just
jacking up threes
basketball.
And giving the Knicks more possessions.
Which I told you was like that's stupid basketball, and that drives me nuts because I think like the coach should call timeout, said, look, we're not able to shoot. Like, we got to get a basket, not jumping in there and chuck it.
Yeah, but that's the way they played.
That's
the way they
just
played
stupid
all
basketball.
year long.
I'm glad it's great when it works, when they can knock down threes, but I feel like you've got to have plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D. Mm-hmm. And I know you gave me crap about me talking junk about Boss's coach, and I mean I think he is a good coach. I do. Sometimes I just question, like, does he have a way to, just how does he adapt?
I only gave you crap because you said he was a high school coach.
I was just saying he just puts the 5 on the floor and's like, all right, have fun.
But what I was going to say about this series, this Pacers-Knicks series, it's 3-1, and it looks over, and it probably is over.
Yep.
But think about how close this series is to being 2-2. If the Knicks made any free throws down the stretch in game 1, it would be 2-2.
Yeah.
Like, the Knicks did everything in game 1 but actually win the game. So it's actually a lot closer series than you think it is.
Right. Well,
I still think the Pacers are going to win.
I mean,
I hope so.
I actually like Thibodeau as the head
Talk
coach.
about somebody that just throws 5 out there. He's not playing anybody.
No, I mean, he's got a good
you're
track
tired?
record.
It's the George Pickens of basketball.
He's got a good track record of being able to have every time he coaches a team, they do well. He coached Boston. They did well even without like the superstars that they had. Then he goes and coaches Chicago. Did okay there, but I think that was just a lost cause anyway. Then does New York and how he's put together that team. I mean, yeah, like you said, Everett it could be how close this is from being tied 2-2. Now, say if it's a done deal, Pacers win. Mm-hmm. The Knicks have gotten a taste of success, how close they are to the finals. What do you think they will do? What will they target in the offseason?
I mean, I think they need a complementary piece.
Need another shooting guard?
Well, maybe that's the way the NBA is. So my thought about basketball would be get an inside piece, get a little bit better inside. So you have Brunson outside, you got somebody inside,
exactly.
You can play in and out. But that's not really the way the NBA is structured right now. So yeah, it's probably
Any
shooting
basketball.
It's more 3-point shooting, I'm sure.
Yes.
Is the answer.
I mean, when we talked about this a while back about the endangered species of the center.
And yet Chet Holmgren might win a championship.
But he also has a good range.
He does. He steps out. He's a stretch 5.
But yeah, I'm under the impression too, and
He's also 7'2", right?
I feel that if you have an interior presence and an perimeter presence, it means success because they're having to watch both sides. Just like if you can run the damn ball, you can throw the ball. But yeah, now it's chuck it and hope for the best. It is great, knocking down the 3. I remember when there was only one 3-point specialist that would come in, a la Mark Price or Paxton used to come in for the Bulls, right? And now it's like everybody's got to be able to chuck and hit these threes. So, which I think is also funny because the people they are all upset that it's a boring game. The NBA, even you, Everett, and I get it. But didn't they used to say that when it was like, all it is dunking, just coming up there and jamming the ball?
Well, the problem, what they used to say was that the players were too large for the court. Like, honestly, when you had Charles Barkley and Oakley battling against each other,
yeah,
those are 2 really big guys in a really small space, and so it was overly physical. There were fouls called. Every time they touched the ball, it was a foul. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, then it was basically a free throw shooting contest. It wasn't even the dunks. Everybody likes dunks, but you're just getting fouled and going to the free throw line all the time. And that's when the thought was they needed to widen the lane. Remember, they wanted to go to that trapezoid lane that international basketball used to have. so that they could get the big guys out of the lane and free up space. And so what ends up happening is, like everything else, they didn't go to the trapezoid lane, but they did free up space. They made it, they enforced 3 seconds. They did some things to make the big guys get out of the lane. And when you did that, it opened up the floor for shooters. And then everybody wanted to shoot. And then analytics comes in and says, hey, you get more for a 3-pointer than you do for a 2-pointer at a lower percentage. And so now it's wide open. The court's open because even the 7-foot guys are on 20 feet from the basket looking to shoot. So you have a more open game,
Right.
which is what they wanted. But now everybody's just shooting threes, and there's not. Although, if you look at Oklahoma City and Indiana to some extent, you do see them trying to get into the lane. Now, that's not the big guy in the lane, but it's drive and kick. And if they don't stop you, then you got a layup. So that's good. The old Princeton offense was always layup or 3-pointer. That's what you wanted. You didn't want anything mid-range. You wanted either a layup or a 3. The highest percentage 2-point shot you could get, or a 3.
Right.
And no one's running the Princeton offense. But that thought of we either get a layup or a 3 is a sustainable model. Because if you can drive in, get an easy dunk or an easy layup, then great. We did that.
Yeah.
And if we don't get that, then we'll take the higher or the 3, trying to get more points. And hopefully the defense has collapsed on us driving. That 3 is more wide open and a higher percentage shot.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to be watching, so I'll, of course, I'll be pulling for the Pacers, but I'll be watching just because I do like how the Pacers play ball. And now on to hockey. Panthers really didn't have any problem with the Canes.
No, they really didn't.
It did not at all.
It was sad because the Canes had chances. And, the Panthers made 2 really terrible turnovers last night. Aho goes in, scores 2 goals in the first period, and you're like, oh, well, the Canes are up. They can make it a series if they can, sustain this. Then they fall down. Then they get a tying goal with about 8 minutes left in the game. And you're going, well, you know what? They can still get this. And then the Panthers score on a beautiful goal.
Yeah. And the thing was, I don't blame Freddie Anderson for any of that.
No, that goal was tremendous.
Yes, that was. But they don't get the puck out of there. I mean, he can only stop so many.
Yep.
You've got to help him. And
it seemed like the only thing the Canes could do offensively was if Florida turned it over. Like, they weren't getting anything on their own. And that was sort of the story with the series. So, and then that empty netter at the end was just laughable.
It was actually fun to watch, though.
It was fun to watch, but it was funny that
it came
the way it
right
worked.
as he came out of the box and just ran down. I'm like, all right. He was booking it.
He was booking it out of the box, so you have to, because the box is on the other side of the blue line. So the puck went down because obviously there's no icing on a power play.
Right.
The power play ends sort of right as the puck hits mid ice. And then he jumps out and there's no goalie. So he's the only one down there.
Yeah. And the team and Canes.
Yeah, because they're attacking.
Yeah. They're like, okay, well, we'll just, he's out.
Yeah. I mean, because they're attacking, so they're moving forward. And it was kind of a laughable play, but it kind of summed up the whole series. That was just the breaks went Florida's way. And so they're in for the 3rd straight year. I think you could win a lot of bar bets asking, how many times the Panthers have been in the Stanley Cup. There's not a whole lot of people that would say the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Even though they won last year. And the Oilers have a chance to take care of the Stars tonight, which also looks like it's going to happen 3-1.
I hope so.
It would set up a Oilers-Panthers rematch, same Stanley Cup we had last year. But I think they're the best 2 teams. I mean, they're playing. I'm not going to say they're the best 2 teams all season, but they're the 2 teams playing the best right now.
Yeah.
And yeah, I would like to see McDavid and Draisaitl win. I think it would be good for Canada to have a Stanley Cup. They haven't had it in 30 years or something. And for the 2 McDavid's the best player, Draisaitl one of the top players. For them to get their cup, I think would be good. So I'd like to see it. But then I like Matthew Tkachuk as well. So,
Yeah.
I liked his dad
Yeah, because he was a Blue.
and a coyote.
A coyote. Mm-hmm. What's that?
Coyote.
Oh, yes. Yes. Oh, yes, coyote.
Yeah, that's what George Bush called it.
Oh, yeah?
It's a coyote.
George W? Or
George,
H?
yeah,
Oh.
George W.
It's a coyote.
Yeah, that's exactly the way he said it, too.
I need a visor.
Which I guess historically now is going to be a mammoth, right? Is that who the
Utah, Mammoth.
Yep.
The woolly mammoths.
No, it's Mammoth.
Woolly.
Named after a mountain range.
No, not at all.
Or the buffalo-like animal that lived in the Salt Lake area.
That's right. That's right.
The woolly mammoth.
Woolly. All right. Okay, so next topic is the technology with the strike zone?
This is funny to me. So I'm really curious what your thoughts on this one. So
How
as we
accurate
know-
are humans?
Exactly. Well, that's what it's all going to come to. What is the percentage we allow technology to be a flaw? And this comes about because we've heard for a couple of years that baseball wants to do the Hawkeye strike zone, the automated strike zone, so that umpires don't have to call balls and strikes. Okay, great. It comes out in some report that Major League Baseball does that the accuracy of the Hawkeye is up to, or I guess the inaccuracy is up to 0.15 inches, which isn't a whole hell of a lot, but it's enough for some players to be like, not accurate enough. How can we trust it? What if it's a pitch on the final play of the World Series with the bases loaded and it should have been a strike and it's called a ball and we lose? We can't have this.
Well, what's the data with the umpires as far as?
It can't be any better.
Be any more accurate.
But to be fair, umpires, they do actually have this data. Umpires are right 99% of the time.
Really?
Yes. It's either 98 or 99. It's a very, very high percentage
For Major League Baseball?
for Major League Baseball, and you can look it up.
Okay.
I think it's either 98 or 99%. Umpires are very accurate, but they're not 100% accurate. They miss pitches all the time.
Yeah.
And the other thing is you also have to think of sheer number of pitches. There are 200 pitches in a game, which there are probably more than that, and you only miss one or two, you did pretty well.
Right.
I mean, you can even miss 10 and still have done well.
Well, I'm also maybe it's more with college umpires because I've seen that they're all over the place. But
the thing is, they're not as all over the place as you think they are.
Well,
If we do games,
right,
you and I both do games, and we have a center field camera, which is not directly down the center, it's off. So pitches look like they're off the plate when they're actually on the plate, and sometimes they're on the plate when they're actually off the plate. We have the TrackMan data. And are they wrong sometimes? Yes.
I usually have the gray area when
The TrackMan, it's amazing how accurate they are when you go, ooh, that didn't look like strike. And then you look and go, oh, well, that actually was close.
right, yeah. But I mean,
And they're all graded by the TrackMan.
There is, you kind of get an idea when you have the TrackMan watching about where this umpire favors what does not. So if you see the consistency there, where there is one that was low away, but not that far off the K zone, and you could tell throughout the whole afternoon he's called that a strike. So that's called strike. It's like, well, to be fair, that was been called strike all day. It's again the consistency and from the umpire in his strike zone, but it's the ones that are way off the strike zone where you're like, where did that come from? But umpires now making correct ball strikes call approximately 92% of the time, according to Fangraphs.
92%. Okay, I thought it was higher than that. But
Still,
it was 90%.
92%.
It's up from 90% in 2015.
okay,
So they've even gotten better.
so 92. Well, Angel Hernandez left.
So we automatically
But
increased.
again, that's sort of the point. Is there's always that one umpire that you don't like.
Right.
And Angel Hernandez was just disliked by universally everyone. But there's always that one guy. But for the most part, they do a really good job. So, okay. Now, I think 92 to 98 or 99 is a pretty significant jump. Like, I think that would be worth the technology to make that 6% jump. But, if it's 97 to 99 or, at what point do you actually say we're close enough? Like, it's never going to be 100. No technology can be 100. No person can be 100.
Well, can they work together? It's the two, like, where you have, like...
I mean, they have a challenge. The other thought is the challenge system. And so the challenge system is basically the same as it is in football.
But only on strike three?
No, it can be any pitch, but you only get 2 of them. So you got to be right when you do it. So you sort of... The interesting thing with the challenge system is, when do you challenge? Like, are you challenging a pitch in the second inning when you're going, it's only the second inning and I got to keep these challenges? I'd rather have them in the 8th and 9th inning. When am I using them?
Yeah.
The other thing is that they say never let a pitcher call for a challenge because pitchers always think they're strikes. So don't let the pitcher do it. Mm-hmm. Who's going to challenge? Is it going to be the manager? Is it going to be the catcher? Who gets to call for it? But so AAA is experimenting with 2 things right now. One is the full automated bit. Just a beep if it's a strike, no beep if it's a ball. Umpire just kind of gives the signal, doesn't make the call himself. Fully automated, umpire has no choice in the matter.
So he gets like an earpiece.
Yeah, basically a beep or no beep. And the other one is this challenge system.
Imagine when you're doing this, you're umpire, and you're like, strike! I don't think it was. But that's what they call it.
The other one is this challenge system where the umpire calls balls and strikes, and then if he's challenged, just like in tennis, you literally see it on the video board, and the ball goes through the zone, the K zone, and you see it, the whole stands see it. It's either a strike or a ball. We move on. And it takes 20 seconds, probably not even 20, 10.
Yeah.
However long it takes to get it on the video board, show the replay, and we're out. There's no gray area. It either just is or isn't. But that's what these players, some of these pitchers are like, well, but I don't know, 0.1/5 of an inch. That's the difference between a ball and a strike. It can be, I guess. I mean, I don't know. It seems like a pretty small fraction. To give some context, tennis, which uses Hawkeye I guess not all the time. They're playing the French Open, and I think I heard that the French Open actually didn't have it.
Really?
But
we do not allow that in our country.
Most tennis has the Hawkeye system, or most high-level tennis has it, and it's the same thing. Players get to challenge it. He thought the ball was in, they challenge. It is either is or isn't. But that's reliable up to 0.1/4 of an inch. So 0.001 difference. Not a whole lot different than what tennis has. In soccer, which has put a chip in the ball so that they can see goal line technology and whether it's a handball in the box and all that stuff, that's accurate up to 0.09 inches. So, look, the technology is getting it pretty close.
And it will only get closer.
Well, at some point, it won't be able to get closer.
Yeah, I mean, you can only get spot on.
Right. I mean, but I don't think it...
But if there's a disparagement or off, it will get better.
It'll get better, but I think it can only get better up to a point. Yeah. Like, I don't think it can ever be spot on.
No.
But again, so it comes down to what are you comfortable with? And this actually came up with replay with football. A good friend of mine, we had this discussion. What is acceptable? Is 51% acceptable? Like if you're judging a replay and you say it's probably this, like I can't tell definitively, but I can tell that it's probably this.
Reasonable
Probably
doubt.
being 51% sure that this is the case. Is that a high enough bar, or do you need the clear and indisputable?
It's reasonable versus shadow of a doubt, like in
Yep.
court.
So what are you comfortable with as a sports fan?
I'm okay with reasonable, actually.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. You?
I don't know. I don't know that I am. I think that if it's a challenge, if it's a replay, I need to know that it's right to change it.
Yep.
I need better than 50%. I need better than it probably should be changed. You know, like let's just make up an example. Let's say a guy is reaching for a ball or fumbles the ball. He's on the goal line. He fumbles. It's ruled no touchdown on the field. But it looks like the guy probably extended it over the line, but he's being blocked out by the center, so we can't really tell if he is, but we think he probably reached it, but we don't know.
Well,
Are you okay with that being a touchdown or ruled fumble on the field?
Well, okay. So that is different than the strike zone aspect because the strike zone isn't blocked.
Right.
You don't usually have it blocked.
Right.
Obstructed, right?
There's no obstruction. Whereas this, if they fumbled it or whether they got across the goal line, there's even more factors to that. Where were their hands? If you're seeing it from this side, do you see when the hand come off the ball? I think.
But that's my question is, when you're in a replay scenario, do you have to be 100% certain or conclusively certain, or are you okay with he probably did, but I'm not sure?
Well, again, I think it's subjective. It's what were the circumstances? If it's unobstructed, then you can look at it and say, absolutely.
Right.
But if it's something where there's other factors involved, then you need to be at least mostly certain. Not just could be certain.
Not just probably, but no. And that's always the thing. It's like, and this is where we always talk about how things are more complicated than you think they are.
Yeah.
Like, if you go to a monitor and you're looking at something in slow motion, you can say, well, I think this happened.
Right.
But am I 100% certain? Am I beyond a reasonable doubt? No, but I believe this is what happened.
Well, that's like when they do reviews and the initial call is say he's safe, right? And then they do the review. What baffles me is
You see one thing and they see another.
yeah, no. What baffles me is that the replay that they're seeing, that is there enough evidence there to overturn what the original call was, and there's not.
Right.
And
Because
sometimes
it's
they
clear and
overturn,
obvious.
and sometimes they don't. They do overturn it when you're like, well, I don't know how you can reverse what you originally called, because it's you can't without a definite answer saying that looked as if he was out. So that's the only thing. Like,
Well, but that's the standard right now is clear and obvious, not
sometimes
probable.
it is. Sometimes.
Well, but that's the standard. That's what they say. The replay was put in to correct clear and obvious mistakes,
right.
not maybe mistakes. You know, replay is not intended to change something that might have happened or might not have happened. Replay is in to correct clear and obvious mistakes.
Right.
That's the standard right now. But should that be the standard? That's my question. My question is clear and obvious, should that be the standard, or should the standard be, he probably did?
Clear and obvious.
Okay.
Yeah.
And with strike zone, like taking it back to a strike pitch, strike zone should be black and white. It's like tennis, in or out. It either is or isn't. There should not be a gray area. And so if you're going to challenge that and you're going to use this technology, and if you can get the technology to within 1/10 of an inch or a 15th of an inch, I think that's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how much better you're expected to get than, you know, I don't know. I guess I'd have to look at a ruling to see just how much a 15th of an inch is, but it's not much. And the thing is, when you're talking about a baseball or any ball
That's moving.
it's traveling. I mean, come on.
Come on now.
And then what interests me with the K zone, when you look at K zone and someone asks, is that a ball or a strike? Very often I say it's borderline because I can see a fraction of the ball, the very top of the ball inside the line, but the majority of the ball is outside the line.
Yeah.
Technically that's a strike, but it doesn't look like a strike, right. You know? So I don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's
Well, I mean, it's just, look, this is not a yes or no question. This is a what do you think? Philosophical. Right. How comfortable are you with, do you need 100% certainty? Do you need 90% certainty? Do you need 75% certainty? Do you need 51% certainty? What are you comfortable with?
I'm comfortable with 99%.
I'd be nice with 99%.
Yeah.
I think I'm comfortable with 92%. I mean, I think umpires do a really good job. Do they miss them? Yeah, they do. But they're right.
As long as there's
way
a way
more
to,
than
to
there's
keep them accountable if it's an important thing. I mean, if it's a strike, a look-in strike in the 9th inning of the World Series, then, let's make sure.
That's what we're talking about. And there are plays, and you can think of them. You can think of I don't remember the Tigers pitcher, but he was robbed of the no-hitter because the guy was ruled safe at second. I always bring up Don Dinkinger in the 85 World Series because Quirk was definitely out at first base. There was no question he was out. But he was called safe, and we went on to lose, and that's just the way it went. I'm over it now. It's only
Kevin
been
Seitzer, yes.
It's only been 40 years. But anyway, there are plays, and you can go back, and if you're a fan of the team, you remember it.
Right.
But but even that Cardinal example, okay? Cardinals, for those of you who aren't 40 and don't remember the 85 World Series, Game 6, Cardinals ahead in the bottom of the 9th inning. Leadoff man for the Royals, should have been out, ruled safe. Royals end up winning that game, and they go on to win Game 7. All of the stuff is they went on to win Game 7. That was only Game 6.
Yep.
The Cardinals still could have won if they showed up and weren't still pissed off about the call.
Just like
they showed up and won the
Boston and New
Well,
York.
and that's what happens.
Yep.
You still had another game.
Oh, no.
And it's the same thing for the Cardinals. We still had another game, but they were still pissed off from the night before, and they did not play well. But yeah, what you don't want is for the World Series or a playoff game to end, but it does anyway. I mean, there are questionable strike 3 calls that the umpire said was strike 3. Mm-hmm. Not everybody goes down swinging.
Right.
I don't know. like I said, there's 200 and something pitches in a baseball game.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, if there's any way we can use technology just to get maybe more accurate, that's fine. But even if you have to work together with it, with human,
I think working together is the way to go. I kind of like the challenge system because it does raise a question of when do you challenge? Do you challenge that pitch in the third inning?
Yeah.
Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But certainly certainly in the context of a late game situation, the ninth inning, you can make that challenge, or at least you hope. Because the other thing you don't want to have happen is you don't want a team to be out of challenges and not be able to challenge that key pitch in the ninth inning. So I think you got to tweak it some. I think it's got to be workable.
Shouldn't they have the ninth inning where that's like it's?
But the umpire's umpire's discretion. Umpire always thinks he's right.
Well, you have somebody from New York,
and you could do that. Like, look, to be perfectly fair, that's kind of what
Dean
college.
Blandino up there.
Well, not him necessarily, but there can be an umpire in New York. It could be Jerry West or whoever you want it to be. Sitting there watching the game, especially if we're talking about a World Series game where it's the only game on, he can be watching it, and that's where the buzzer system could come in. Mm-hmm. He could buzz down and say, hey, we got to take a look at this. Mm-hmm. And as long as it's sort of the Hawkeye bit of show it quickly, don't take 5 minutes to look at a ball or strike call. I mean, literally, one look, it conclusively is or isn't,
right?
And let's move on. It can't be like NFL replays that we need a commercial break for.
Yeah, right.
So, but
yeah,
because I think tennis has it right. Like tennis, and I know we don't watch a lot of tennis, but it seems to work pretty well in tennis.
Well, I mean, and it works well for the goal line technology for soccer. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's not a doubt about it, and it's all because of the chip that's in the ball and where that line is, and it's as soon as you see it, it is cut and dry, and it's like either or no, that's bull. It's
well, and the other thing I like about the soccer thing. Now, I was pretty impressed that they had that at even closer than tennis. 0.09 inches. The thing about the soccer example is they've got that same chip has a bounce factor. Like if it hits a hand, you actually see like a little heartbeat that says that it hit something.
Right.
And I remember I guess it was a World Cup, the last one that was played, that came into effect in a game. I don't even know what game it was, but I remember them showing the thing that showed they hit the ball. They gave the PK because it was inside the box and clearly showed that it hit something.
Last year, the Euros?
It could have been. I honestly don't remember what it was.
Because there was one that was very like blatant and they didn't give it. It was like, what? Like the German guy went and smacked it down. Or no, it was a Spanish guy. And he was like, and they're like, we looked at it. No, it's fine. Like, that's a natural position. What? This is?
No, this was not a non-call. It was clearly a penalty given that I'm thinking of. But I don't remember what it was. I don't.
Well, I know, but I also think that to help with the offside call, which it is difficult to call for official. So even though sometimes where it does look a little blatant, you're like, come on, like you know better than that. But what if you had the same technology as these chips in the soccer cleats, and you find out each one and who's the last one that's. I mean, your whole body, of course, is going to be seen. And now, since it's very, very thin margin now, it's like even if my back of my head is just ahead of, like, you're my defender and my head's closer to the goal just because I leaned, then that's considered offside.
But they have that, don't they?
Yeah, they do have that. But I'm saying for like marking for like where the players are with the heat check.
Doesn't that catalyst?
Yeah, that does for the
thing.
For it's more of a heart rate.
I know that's heart rate, but that shows where position on the field too, doesn't it?
For For EPL in the professional leagues, yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought it showed where they were on position because I thought that's what they were using for that offsides thing.
That's how the near margin, yeah.
Yeah, and I was actually surprised because I don't think I realized that it was. I thought you had to be completely past the last defender, but
No, that's why
apparently
the
you
small
only
margin-
need
one part of the body that can
and-
actually score. Yeah.
an eyelash can be a pass.
Well, you can't. You can't score off of that.
I mean, I don't know. If that's what it is. It's a part of the body that
But
can
if
score.
if my hand's off like this,
Can't any part of your body score?
no, not your hand.
Oh, that's true. But
So if
I
you're-
thought if you leaned forward, you were
Your
past.
shoulder. See, your shoulder, you could score.
God, that's
But
even more
I know.
confusing.
Yeah. So like if we're like they do the graphic, right?
Yeah.
Your defense and I just have my hand like this. That's closer to the goal. Then I'm on side because I can't score with this.
Okay.
With this lame arm.
Yeah. Unless
my
you
good
narrow
hand?
down
Shoulder.
Look up for my good hand.
Wow. That's I didn't know that. That's good. That's interesting. I didn't know that's quite how that worked. Any
Yeah.
part of your body that can score.
Well, because I think when the shoulder was, and I was like, hey, why is that offside? Shoulder, like arm, you could show off your shoulder. I'm like,
At what point does your shoulder become your arm?
But yeah, it's like right here.
Is it your sleeve?
Yeah, it's right here because
Well, we're on radio. Nobody can see you. Describe it. Is it your sleeve?
And the first you were like,
are we
right
talking
here.
your bicep?
And then
Or
you
what are
moved
we?
down.
What are we talking about?
metatarsals. Yes. You're going to right at the sleeve mark right
Okay.
here. I'm showing you.
Yes.
Okay, but this is where some
Bicep area is what he's showing
some,
me.
Some of the referees don't understand that because when I got called back for a goal because I used my shoulder, pulled it down, knocked the ball down, and hit it in, and the ref goes handball. So that's a shoulder. Have you seen how the EPL? I mean, this was way before they used that. It's like, if you seen EPL, that shoulder, you could score. So, and you look to the referee and you're going, this is not. They're like, sir. So it's also subjective for what the referee says. That's your arm, no shoulder. No, that's your arm. So,
I mean, I can see where that would be confusing.
So it's a judgment call, really.
Yeah.
yeah. I just don't like with the VAR where you can go back in time, rewind, and like, oh, you can go back to the play previously that would have led to this goal. So it's like there was a foul way back here, so that's negated because that's a red card back, a minute before the counter. It's like, all right, well, let's just keep going all the way back.
You see, I don't like that in hockey either. I don't like
they
being
can
able
go
to-
back to the offsides. Yes.
Yeah, I hate that.
the same thing. So
But they can only go back to the offsides once it's the time that however much time the puck is in the zone. So if it clears, then it resets, obviously.
Yeah.
But
there was one that just drove me nuts for VAR where it was Arsenal playing, I forget who, maybe it was Man United, and the two collided, and it's a gray area. Could have been a foul on Arsenal player, or is it just 50-50 ball? They collide, blah. Well, he wins the 50-50 ball. Ball gets out. They're on a counter. Arsenal scores. And then quickly they review it, and they're like, why? I mean, he's onside. Well, what are we looking at? Goes all the way back to like 6 touches prior to that, and it's this challenge between an Arsenal player and a Man United player where they collide, and the official said that the cleat or whatever was just a tad late, which would end up being a foul, which is like very, very like picky, and that took away the goal. So
it should take away Arsenal goals on principle. I don't know. I just like to rile him up once in a while.
Well, I think it's time to rile up and get out of here.
Get on out here.
Quick, hit the music. So for Tim Beeman and Arliss and Steve, Tim Hutto, and Everett Hutto, I'm Ty Collins, Tim Collins, and Everett Collins. We'll talk to you next week, hopefully. Another edition of Fan Interference. Does that mean I got to go? All right, see you.
views and opinions of this podcast are solely those of the contributors and not necessarily those of our distributors or hosting company. This podcast is copyrighted, and no material from this podcast can be used or reproduced without the expressed written permission of the Less Desirables Network and Such Limited Incorporated.